Hello and welcome. This is Bramritter. Today we are playing LEGO Fortnite Odyssey. Hello everybody, Bramritter here. So with this game, I get a little obsessive with not only storage, but how I display things. And as you can see here, I have, in the sandbox world, made an idea of a living codex. I really enjoy display. So I wanted to bring a video to everyone today showing how I do the displays. A week ago, they gave us the update to display everything. And I know other content creators and other people have come up with ideas on how they're doing everything. So I just kind of wanted to show off my own little style. I really, with the help of my buddy Wookie, he helps me a lot with everything. Uh, Together we came up with the idea of putting the mounts in a way that they show over top of the chests off the wall. So I had built this whole test facility, not in my expert world and not in anything that really matters, but just wanted to experiment. So as you see, everything here is very meticulously organized, and this idea worked really well in concept. However, when I started to build the same facility in my expert world, I did find a little bit of a problem. And what I found the problem is that when doing these stacks, three chests high is really the more comfortable limit. It gets a little harder to get to that fourth chest. Um, so I sat down and rethought my idea. While this room is, in my opinion, very beautiful, I enjoy the display nature of it. It's kind of like walking into a art exhibit or a museum. Everything kind of codex wise is mostly in order. I took some liberties with how I organized things, but everything is here. So, step two to this idea to make it more functioning was to start all over again. So once I realized that the four chest high method was a little bit more trouble than it was worth, I started experimenting with a different method. In this one, I only go three chests high, but I separated it with two layers. On the bottom layer, I do resource things more, wood, stone, um, anything that's building material wise. And on the upper level, I would separate things by things you get off of creatures, bear pelts, the rollers, uh, making fabric. And with the three high method, I found for myself, because I'm very obsessive compulsive, and some of the people I play with kind of laugh at me a little bit because I get a little too deep into it. But there are a lot of things that are either in sets of two, three, or four. And putting things on two levels for me, as you can see, I'm nowhere near finished with this experiment, but I wanted to take a break from it and make this video to showcase how I'm doing this. Now, the problem is not everybody spends money on the game, so oftentimes it's very advantageous to show a free method and then also show a method where you might need parts from other sets. So I'm going to start off. I already prepped parts here. One of the biggest things in Lego Fortnite building is the use of the pressure plate. The pressure plate is amazing for getting things put on walls, flipped around, upside down, any which way you want. I've talked about this in my other videos, and the pressure plate is just amazing. And whenever you're using the pressure plate, you're always looking at the black part of the plate, not the red part. So to start off with this, um, I'm using gem chests. They have the biggest storage capability. They also are a little bit more slender, and I'll show you the difference here. Using a gem chest uses a space of 8. Uh, no, yeah. It looks like it uses a space of 8, but really it uses a space of 6. And I'll demonstrate what I mean by that. When you put down one of the other bigger chests, you can't get it directly next to it. You have to have a space in between, a one stud variant. However, when you use a gem chest, you're actually able, not on the floor, it still keeps that one stud variant, but when you're on a wall, it changes it. I don't understand exactly why, but I'm definitely not going to complain because it allows me to do this trick. If I can get it right where I want it, there we go. Once you have a couple of chests on the wall, you're able to get rid of the pressure plate, get that out of the way, and then by staring at the very bottom of the plate, you see how at the bottom of the treasure chest there's like a one by one stud on the bottom of it. You stare directly at that, and that allows you to manipulate the chest where you want it next. See there, it goes green, and it is directly flush with the next chest. Again, as I showed you, when you do it on the ground, for some reason it won't do that. Um, can be a little frustrating, and I'm sure that using another method, we could probably get it on the ground directly next to each other. The other thing you can do, I know certain people really like doing this. Um, you could put them back to back like that on the floor, and it saves space, a lot of space. But this is just the way I'm doing it. Everybody's got their own methods, and I'm just showing what I'm doing. So if I continue this on, again, I'm looking at that little bit bottom portion of that chest. There it goes. Now, the big deal about my method here is that you have to follow a spacing pattern. Um, and this is going to be the paid way. These pieces that I'll use come from the Anarchy Acres set. Um, so, along with the pressure plate method, there's another method with the balloon where if you're looking at the wall, you're able to put that on the wall. And then the neat trick that I'm really enjoying, normally uh, anything that you would put on the wall would still stay in the grid of the game where it's going to line up with the other studs. There's a really neat method where when you look at a balloon, you can actually make it go in between. So I place a couple of these here. I'm placing these in a very particular way, and what I'm doing is I'm kind of placing these post pieces with almost level with that stud that's coming off the chest on every one, and it lines up really nicely. Once you have those pieces in line, you no longer need the balloon or the pressure plate. You can just build off of whatever you're working on. As an example here, I would want these on the other side. So what I'll do is I'll match it up and I'll just slide it all the way over. The great thing is once you have something in place to work off from, you can just continue to build. Now you see there's a small gap. That's a half stud gap between each piece. And then put a fence piece. This is the 8 stud length fence, and I cap off with the 6. Go one more layer, and that snaps in together right there, all nice and neat. Now this is where my buddy Wookie came into play here. I was working at trying to figure out how I wanted to display things. I was working on my warehouse design. I am very obsessive compulsive with this game, and I really like displays. And I hit a frustration point, and he came in and was helping me, and uh, he figured out that the wall mounts would stick to fences, which is just amazing. So once you have your fences up, you can stick a wall mount. And again, I'm very obsessive compulsive, so I figured out that I could make it very flush so that when you're looking at the displays, it's a very flush and very even, very nice looking, in my opinion. Not everybody will like this. Now, once you have one, it's very simple and easy to get the rest on. At this point, when you have that top one in place, I've learned that you can just push the piece and line it up on the other side. You kind of get the feel for it and where it's going to sit, but that gives you that whole display right there. And earlier I mentioned the spacing. So the spacing is like if you were starting up against a wall, like I typically do, I space so far out from a wall, you would do a set of one row of chests and then leave that 2 stud gap in between, and then lay a set 2 columns of chests next to each other. So that it would look just like this. Oop. So then when you continue on and you finalize this row, which I'll just do it just to save face and show you. Make sure I'm getting that in the right spot. Now when you add the wall mount to the fence here, which it can be a little tricky. Sometimes my camera moves around a little bit on me and that doesn't help me. Put that there. And the one thing to watch out for that I've learned, and I'll just demonstrate it, sometimes when you place your first piece and then you go to continue on, it bumps it out and tries to even it up in a different way that I don't I don't like it that way. But once you get it lined perfectly over, you can just sink it to the next spot. And what I'm doing every time I'm doing my spacing, I go till it goes green and then I go one more bump and place it. and that makes it even on each one. And what I look for even is the point of the chest is facing in between the two studs on the shelf on every one. So now this is a great point to demonstrate. I've got some items in my inventory. You can go here, put one in, and it faces it out and over top of the chest. And you can do it with anything that you want. And it just displays very nice. And the interesting thing about this discovery is that as long as you don't look at the red part of the wall mount and you're looking straight at the chest, it looks through the shelf and goes right to the chest on every one. So you can access everything that you need. Now, again, this is the paid version. I bought the Anarchy Acres set, and from what I can tell, you can use any fences that you like, but I'll demonstrate this with the free fence, and it works just a little bit differently. Again, I'll start off with the pressure plate. Um, and this one, I'll show you the difference with this chest. Not everybody uses the gem chests. I have, in my expert world, excess of gems, so I have the ability to use them. With this chest, it's just 4 frost pine and 2 iron bars, and this will also show you the difference of how this works. So there's 3 chests high. Oh wow, it actually it melded into the pressure plate. I didn't expect that to happen. Now again, these chests have a little bit wider of a hitbox, and they're a little harder to work with for my taste. And it's not quite on the wall there. It's on the wall. This is being a little bit difficult. There we go. So yeah, when you use these size chests, it just does not like to put them face to face for whatever reason. And I don't even know why I enjoy putting them on the wall so much. I guess it's really for space saving. A lot of times you can put the chest level and then put some floor pieces up and then put chests on that next floor piece. This just kind of condenses things down, and makes it a little tighter, easier for me to just navigate around and put stuff in. So once you have this, then on either side of a 2 stack, instead of using the acres railings, I'll show you the absolute free method, um, using any 2x2, um, any 2x2 pillar. Do this on both sides. And that brings it out far enough from the wall that when you add a balloon, you use the same method with the free fence. This one is the acres fence. You get this early and free. I will look at the balloon, and that makes it line up more center of the little column there. And again, once you have it in place, you can work off of it. I think I'm putting these in the right spot, I hope. Yeah. Now that didn't quite go in the right spot for me. Yeah, these can be a little bit more troublesome. But you know what? I can circumvent that by just making it a solid. Things always want to give me the most trouble when I'm trying to make a video for to share with you guys. All right, so that makes it just a solid, nice little bit there, and it works the same way. Should just there we go. And I'll just do the same thing over here. And what I'll do again is I'll work off of this piece, bump it over. Oh, it's out of range. I'll have to work a little harder on this. Alright. You can only bump things about 12 spaces before you run out of room to work with. Put that there. Just repeat the process. And get rid of that balloon. We don't need the balloon anymore. Alright, and get this attached to the wall if it wants to cooperate. There. Now we can display over these two columns of chests. You can hang an item. And I'm just grabbing random items, not kind of any rhyme or reason here. It's just what's available in my bag, just to demonstrate. But everything hangs really nice, front face. You can see it all very clearly. When you do this method, this with these chests takes up a lot more space, and that's why I really like these chests. I mentioned that earlier, but just to reiterate, I just like the way it looks. For me, it works. The neat thing too is when you go to the second level, I realized that these fences also work as a great block, so you don't run off the edge. And when you're looking at your items and trying to put things away quickly, it's easy to just walk along, quickly put items away, and you can organize to your heart's desire. So yeah, guys, I'm Bram Ritter. I'm still pretty new to Lego Fortnite and just love experimenting and toying around, playing the game, and then I like making these videos and trying to share it with everybody. If you like this, leave a comment, like, subscribe, I would really love the support. It would be a great dream of mine to actually become a permanent content creator. Um, Thank you all for watching. You all have a wonderful night.